We've all been trapped in Trial of the Grand Crusader for weeks killing giant beetles. And like Mom always said, it's about the journey, not the destination. But sometimes we need to know if our hard work is really paying off. We need to know that the BiS gear we're farming is actually BiS and won't just be replaced 5 minutes into ICC. And that's why I put together the ultimate list of items that'll be BiS next phase. Classes like Death Knights and Paladins should really pay attention because there's gear in this list so good you won't be replacing it 5 months into ICC, let alone in 5 minutes. Let's get to the list. At number 10, we have Juggernauts Vitality. On paper, there are several superior trinkets like Sindragosa's Flawless Fang and the Corroded Skeleton Key, but Juggernauts Vitality still gives 216 stamina with an on-use Battlemaster effect of 5186 health. It's 15 seconds in duration, which gives you more survivability for longer since most of the trinkets have 10-second procs. Juggernauts Vitality is definitely situationally BiS for some fights, as well as a very good option to have when other trinkets are on CD. At number 9, we have the Tier 9.5 Death Knight set. Tier 9.5 is still extremely strong for Unholy Death Knight and is situationally used throughout ICC, especially on trash packs. Luckily for you, the portable hole will be coming in Phase 4 as well, so you'll have 2 more inventory slots per bag to fill all your extra gear sets. At number 8, we have Solace of the Fallen. Solace gets its own spot because it's situationally BiS for every healer depending on the fight length. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of other solid trinkets in Phase 4 like Althor's Abacus or the Purified Lunar Dust. Althor's is like a new illustration with 201 spell power and a nice but not game-breaking proc effect. Purified Lunar Dust is 11 spell power higher than Solace but only offers about 70 MP5. In the end, nothing compares to the raw 144 MP5 of Solace combined with the 168 spell power. At number 7, we have the Antediluvian Cornerstone Grimoire. Is it really any surprise that everyone's favorite skeleton is still BiS in Phase 4? The Grimoire is an offhand, so you can use the skeleton and swap weapons whenever a boss fight starts. The base model of the skeleton does 77 DPS for 1 minute total for a total of 4,700 damage. That's already more than a sapper on a single target boss. With Bloodlust and buffs though, that number can skyrocket to over 100 DPS. Mr. Bones is putting in a lot of hard work. You could really make his day better by subscribing to the channel. Mr. Bones thanks you. At number 6, we have all the trinkets you never farmed. We can't escape our past, and my inability to farm Soul Preserver has finally caught up with me. That's right, there are situations in ICC where you'll want that Soul Preserver on your Holy Paladin, or that illustration of the Dragon Soul on your Disc Priest that you never farmed and is somehow still the second highest spell power healing trinket, or that Meteorite Crystal that never dropped for you and you didn't want to farm Heroic Plus. Even the lowly Talisman of Resurgence is still useful and still situationally BiS for Holy Paladins. Sure, you might not care about old healing trinkets, but you'll definitely care when your healer runs out of mana. At number 5, we have Comet's Trail. Comet's Trail may not be on many of the original BiS lists, but there's a reason. In our version of the game, the item level's been buffed up 13 levels from 239 to 252. That puts Comet's Trail much more like a side grade to things like the War Token from Badges or the Whispering Fang Skull. At number 4, we have the range slot for your favorite class. If you were hoping for a big new upgrade for your range slot, you may be in for disappointment. Holy Paladins will keep running their same old Libram of Renewal for Holy Light spam. Meanwhile, Prop Paladins have a lot more options, but situationally they'll want to use their Libram of Sacred Shield. Then there's the Unholy Death Knights that might get excited about the Sigil of the Hanged Man. In a lot of situations though, the Sigil of Virulence will still be better since the strength is so similar and it has no ramp up time. Though on my Resto Druid I'm celebrating because this is the time I finally get to throw my Idol of Awakening in the trash. There's the new shiny Idol of the Black Widow, and at this point there are enough gear options I'd rather run something like Solace as a trinket option instead. At number 3, we have Death's Choice. While Deathbringer's Will is a mainstay for almost every physical damage dealer, the second option isn't so obvious. Most BiS lists put Whispering Fang Skull as the second BiS option, but it isn't always the best. The explanation for why Whispering Fang Skull isn't always BiS sometimes involves crit cap and it sometimes involves stat priority. For example, Unholy Death Knight Gargoyle scale with strength, so the attack power proc is a lot less valuable by comparison. According to Sims, for at least 7 of the top physical DPS specs, Death's Choice is the optimal second trinket. At number 2, we have Val'anyr. This comes as a surprise, but Val'anyr is BiS or right on par with the Royal Scepter of Taranis. Sure, everybody loves the 10 to 15% spike in overall healing from the Val'anyr proc, but we also have to keep in mind that the original Val'anyr on private servers was 245 item level. Our current live version is 258, making Val'anyr much more viable today. There's really nothing stopping a Resto Druid or a Resto Shaman or a Holy Paladin from running Val'anyr the rest of the game. The number 1 key Phase 3 item you'll be using in Phase 4 is the 272 Cloaks. The 272 cloaks are just hard to beat for most specs. There are definitely some better overall cloaks for certain specs like the Frostbinder Shredded Cape for casters at 277 item level. But whether you're a tank or a DPS or a healer, there's likely a cloak that's BiS or second BiS for you available right now from the tribute chest. If you have a DPS cloak like the Sylvanas Cunning, you're unlikely to ever replace it the rest of the game. Also, if you have a caster cloak like Bolvar's Devotion or Jaina's Radiance, you'll be extremely unlikely to replace that as well until Phase 5, at least until you replace it with a 284 item level Cloak of Burning Dusk. And while all of these items may not be getting upgrades in Phase 4, if you want to learn about the 10 new biggest feature upgrades in Wrath Phase 4, you should check out this video next.